Welcome back everybody, my name is Nick930 and this is my review for DICE's Star Wars Battlefront II. Battlefront II is a third-person or first-person shooter game that lets you fight in major battles throughout the Star Wars universe. Unlike the 2015 Battlefront game, Battlefront II features all three of the Star Wars story eras, a full single-player campaign, and significantly more content for the multiplayer component. But unfortunately, DICE has once again failed to capture the spirit of the original Battlefront games by pandemic, and instead have built a platform to nickel and dime Star Wars fans at every turn. So let's start by looking into the game's single-player campaign. One of the most requested features in DICE's 2015 Star Wars game was a full single-player campaign. DICE thankfully did acknowledge this overwhelming request, but unfortunately didn't deliver exactly on the level that we would have expected. Once again, DICE has proven that they just don't understand how to create an engaging and worthwhile single-player experience. While it's not terrible, something still feels like it's missing. The missions all feel like smaller scales than you'd expect, and the characters, while seemingly interesting and unique, all feel pretty cookie-cutter and unoriginal. The entire campaign feels like it follows a strict Disney Star Wars design. Strong female lead? Check. New robot sidekick that's like R2-D2? Check. Sarcastic male friend? Check. Odd connection to the bad guys? Check. Gigantic space-based super weapons capable of destroying plants that are stupid easy to destroy? Check. It's disappointing, especially considering the story is supposed to connect the original Return of the Jedi to the new Force Awakens movie. The campaign mostly focuses on Iden Versio and her elite squadron of stormtroopers, but occasionally you'll be given control of favorites like Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, and even Lando Calrissian, and these missions feel like great tutorials for using these heroes online against players. There's also a bunch of segments throughout that let you fly starfighters in big space battles, which I really enjoyed. I did notice a few incredibly repetitive sections that have you defeating the exact same group of enemies over and over again for several minutes, and it felt like an artificial way of lengthening an already short campaign. The campaign will take about 3 to 4 hours to complete, maybe 5 if you hunt down all the collectibles. So while the campaign is not all that impressive, die-hard Star Wars fans will still enjoy the fan service, and it's still worth a playthrough. If not for the story, then for the boost to credits that will help unlock content in the multiplayer component. Next, let's talk about the game's arcade mode. The original Battlefront games featured a ton of ways to play offline, including an instant action mode that lets you pick any map from the game, choose an era, and adjust the number of enemy bots and difficulty. Unfortunately, it looks like DICE has once again failed to deliver this simple feature, and instead gave us a more basic arcade mode. Arcade mode lets you adjust several settings, which is great. You can change the difficulty of the bots, the types of enemy troopers, and various other mode settings, but the map list is incredibly limited, and you can't participate in any space combat or large-scale battles with these bots. There's also some challenge modes too that will definitely require some skill to complete, but these are simple distractions when compared to the rest of the game. The arcade mode is available to play in split screen with your friends, but this feature pales in comparison to what I expected, and I hope DICE adds in a skirmish mode like they did with the last game, so we don't have to rely on a healthy online community to enjoy the large-scale combat. So let's finally talk about the meat of this game, which is the online competitive multiplayer. Battlefront II offers a healthy collection of maps from all three eras, all with unique interpretations of classic battles like the Battle of Hoth, Kashyyyk, Kamino, Endor, and even Takodana and Starkiller Base from the new movies. The map designs are better than the last game, but still feel smaller in scale than the original Battlefronts. I couldn't help but notice some similarities between Takodana and the small forest map in Battlefield 1. It looks practically identical in some cases, down to the grenade spamming and the narrow walkways. Battlefront 2 also features classes now, which really helps to mix up the gameplay and reduce the amount of obnoxious jetpack spamming that happened before. Players are now limited to specific class weapons, abilities, and can only use high-end weapons by spending battle points. Now, battle points are earned within matches by completing objectives and earning kills. If you save up battle points, you can spawn in as a vehicle, elite trooper, or even a hero like Darth Vader. This system works significantly better than any of the other Battlefront games, and the actual gameplay feels incredibly polished and is a lot of fun. But then we get into the real problems with Battlefront 2, the microtransaction-based progression system. By now, you've probably read a lot about this and heard the complaints, and they're all legitimate complaints. Instead of pushing a season pass on us, forcing us to buy new maps just to keep playing, Battlefront 2 tries to nickel and dime players with an excessive use of randomized loot crates. Unlike other games that use the loot crate system, Battlefront 2 offers actual gameplay-changing abilities in their loot crates. You can unlock weapon attachments, improvements to grenades, and even special unique abilities for your heroes. This introduces a form of pay-to-win that really hurts the value of the game itself. To help make this seem more innocent, DICE did add in some checks and balances to the progression system. You can't just spend a lot of real money and unlock the best abilities as soon as you install the game. You still need to rank up to be able to equip higher end gear and abilities. There's also credits, which are not as difficult to earn as people claim online. There's a lot of news articles circulating stating that it takes a minimum of 40 hours to unlock both Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. While this may have been the case in the early access build of the game, this is not the case right now. I earned both characters without spending any additional money, and only played 3 matches online and completed the game's short single-player campaign. Credits are about as easy to earn as Renown in Rainbow Six Siege. So yes, you will need to grind to unlock content online, but the grind isn't any worse than any other games like Call of Duty or Battlefield. EA and DICE have received so much bad press from the recent outrage that they even shut down the ability to spend any real money on loot crates. This doesn't mean it's gone for good, but at least for now you don't have to worry about pay-to-win crap. So that's all there really is to say about Star Wars Battlefront 2. The campaign is short, and while it feels high quality, it doesn't really offer anything special. The game's arcade mode feels watered down when compared to the games that came out a decade ago, and the game's multiplayer is a lot of fun when it's not plagued by a crap ton of microtransactions. Hopefully Disney will force EA to fix this mess and remove all of these pointless microtransactions for good. But unfortunately, this game is costing EA too much for them not to nickel and dime us. If you can deal with a bit of a grind and resist any urge to spend more than the game's base price, then you'll likely enjoy what Battlefront 2 has to offer. But then again, there's a bunch of other games that came out this season that at least try to hide their blatant disrespect for customers. I hope this video was helpful, and if you want to see more content like this, be sure to like and subscribe for more reviews posted every week.